You are now listening to Next Legacy Radio, a radio station for the people.
This is Next Legacy Radio. I am Brandon here with my guests, and I have many questions that I want to ask this gentleman, not just from a business standpoint, but on I guess you want to call it just the way of the world that's been going on for the last couple of years. And so many things that I want to uncover, talk about, and so many important things to discuss, environment, et cetera, et cetera. And you can actually, during the course of this time, when you're listening to this, you can go ahead and go to www.properlymademask.com, click on the link. You can actually save 10% using the code SAVEMORE, plus free standard shipping with all orders. And I have the man of the hour, Mr. John Melching, on to Next Legacy Radio. How you doing, sir?
All right. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. First off, thank you for having this opportunity to have dialogue with me in regards to just what it is that you do. So the people out there that's listening and that may be going onto your website, say, for instance, right now, to properlymademask.com, and is literally in the sense of, let me see what's going on here, not just for the mask. Tell the people a little bit how you got started with this website, why you did it, and a little bit more as far as just your motivation.
All right. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm an ex-Special Forces vet, and I've worn real gas masks in the past, and I think everybody in the audience would understand that when a soldier wears a gas mask, that if it leaks a little bit, it's not good. So with that, I got out of the service and I was educated at the University of Texas as an architectural engineer, mainly engineering. But I spent a lot of years building buildings in the New York City area, rebuilt the Statue of Liberty, Central Park Zoo, Tower 1 and 4 at the World Trade Center, after the bombing. But when COVID hit, and I'm a big guy, not quite sure what size you are, but I guess I have a big head. I'm 6'4", 290. So I started wearing a mask around my ears just the way we're supposed to early in 2020. And they were hurting quite a bit, cutting off the circulation. I wear glasses, and I did not like what was going on. So that is around the time I learned what the word hack meant. I'm not a big computer guy. I'm a bit old school at 65 years old. But as I start looking at the solutions, they weren't real solutions. They were deforming the mask. Whatever they did with the mask, it allowed more contaminations to get through it, et cetera. So I decided to get out my pencils and my calculator and do some vector analysis. And I came up eventually with what our mask is. It has a proprietary and patent-pending adjustable clip in the side where you can use a lanyard attached to it. So our mask is virtually and infinitely adjustable for comfort and fit, and seals around your face. I will say that if people get on our site, if more important to me is they get to an area that's called About Us, they'll be able to click on my picture, as such as it is, and it says important information from the inventor, me. If they click on that, they'll get the real story, because our main goal here is what we're calling a mask movement. I had a partner that wanted to put the mask on Etsy, but you get on a place like Etsy, and there's a lot of good people there trying to sell masks. But I got tired after counting 5,000 different sites for masks. So the populace, yourself, how do you know which mask to wear? When you buy a mask, what's your criteria in buying a mask?
I think in general with me is comfort, really, and just being able to be safe. It's funny that you asked that question, because I myself, have struggled over the years. Obviously, it's a lot's happened since March 2020, but I have had masks where it wasn't comfortable, the ears hurt. I wear glasses like you, so I can't breathe most of the time. Glasses get fogged up. So the big deal for me is definitely comfort. And I'll talk to you about design later, but comfort for me is really and safety is really the 1-2 that I feel like I need personally.
Well, and that is, you basically explain what everybody that thinks about it should think about. We have 3 words associated with our mask. One is maximum protection, regarding the word you just used, safety. Then our next word is comfort, maximum comfort, because you want to be able to wear it. But where does comfort come from is adjustability. So we maximized all those things. I just had a class that we videotaped. We'll be adding to our website shortly. We're going to start adding these group meetings that we're having with people that are anti-mask, pro-mask, not sure what they do. But one of the things that I discussed with them was I picked up a pen, just a fountain pen, and I put it in front of my face. And I said, is that a mask? And everybody said no. Well, it is. It's a mask. A mask is just determined to be something that blocks something else. So if you put a pen in front of your face and somebody coughs on you, obviously it stops something, but not enough, correct? So if you put 20 pens in front of your face, it now protects you 20 times better, but it's still not good enough. So you have a lot of anti-maskers on Fox News. I stood out in front of the Fox News station in New York City in a suit, and I'm not a bad-looking character, but they turned me away like I was, begging for coin in old world England, which was kind of surprising to turn away a handicapped veteran, but it is what it is. So we're going to have a class that proves that anything that you put in front of your face, your mom, when you were younger, taught you when you coughed or sneezed to cover your mouth, right?
Right.
So you cover with your hand, your shoulder, or something. And that wasn't the perfect thing. So I did the pen, and I said, well, if you put thread in front of your face and keep increasing the amounts of the thread, it blocks more and more contaminants from getting into your nose and mouth. So I asked them, is there a perfect mask out there? Is there something that keeps absolutely everything out of your nose and mouth? And they all said no. And that's when I pulled out my duct tape. So I showed them if I were to duct tape my nose and my mouth, I couldn't breathe. But would any contaminants get in my nose and mouth? Of course not. So I've maximized protection, but I've minimized and eliminated comfort, breathability. So somewhere there's a ratio between protection and comfort, breathability, etc. And the word comfort is important to me as well. I lost a niece to childhood leukemia. I have a lot of people involved with the mask movement that are concerned about children. And when I say comfort, it's not just for your face through adjustability, but comfort in your heart, in your mind, knowing that if your children have to wear masks at school, they're wearing the right one. But people don't know what the right one is without education. So that is our goal. That is our goal, to educate. And you giving us the time on your radio station to try to get that education out there, we all at this grassroots level appreciate it greatly.
Well, this is what's important to me, and John Melching is my guest on Next Legacy Radio. You can go ahead and go over to properlymademask.com, get your orders in, do it now, tell everybody you need to, and I'm going to read this verbatim off your site near About Us section that really tugged on my heartstrings. Save human lives. Our mission, stated as briefly as possible, is to save human lives. Properly Made Mask was created by recognizing the absolute need to redesign face masks. Current designs have not changed in a beneficial way for decades. Until the Properly Made Mask design was completed, there was a great need for improved protection, comfort, and performance. The patent-pending Properly Made Mask design meets those needs. All we ask is for you to help spread the word. You too can be part of the mission, which should be everyone's mission, to save human lives. So this is the reason why I tugged on heartstrings, not just because of the hundreds of thousands of people that we lost when this crazy pandemic started in 2020. I think people in general, John, you can probably attest to this, that we should have been doing a lot of the things to protect ourselves since day one, right? Like you mentioned earlier, Mom always told us to cover our mouths when we cough. It's part of looking out for other people. And this is what got me when it came to what I need when it comes to for and respect about what properly made masks are doing. It's not about self. It's about giving an opportunity for those to help others protect themselves. And my question to you is, when this all started, the need for it, and you saw all the things that's out there, what has been like the massive misconception that a lot of people have out there in terms of masks?
Excellent question. What I'm seeing is, and I've had some, there are things I'm an expert in, whether it's from the military or being an engineer, and things that I'm not an expert in, social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc., and how to get the word out there. The biggest misunderstanding is just that there is misunderstanding. I would say that everybody in engineering or any census report, there's a thing called a bell curve where everybody fits in the middle of the bell curve, and you have the outliers at either end. But the responsibility, honestly, I believe after serving for the country, the responsibility for the government should have been to educate the populace as to what the right mask is, what works, what doesn't. They put in place mandates that angered a lot of people. A lot of people were okay with them, and I believe that there are places for mandates, but they weren't explained right, and they were kept on in some areas. And so what it did, it divided the nation between mask haters and mask wanters, and that all revolved around not having an understanding. The lack of knowing what materials that a mask works with, how you can get comfort. If I know soldiers, because we work with wounded warriors that have burnt off ears. How in the world do you wear a mask that loops around your ear if you don't have an ear? You don't.
Right.
And this country, as an engineer and architect, I have dealt with what's called the ADA codes, the Americans with Disabilities Act, where corners of streetways were set up for wheelchairs. When you do doors, size of doors, weights of doors, desks, water fountains, everything has to comply with the federally mandated or federally required specifications brought about by the ADA Act. There's nothing in there for Americans with ear issues, including we're part of what's called the ear community. There is a deformation of the ear that children are born with. It's called microtia of the ear. They call that microtia because there's a microtia butterfly. So the ears are deformed like a butterfly. And a good friend of mine, Melissa Tumlin, created the ear community. She's out in Colorado. We went out there and saw her daughter, Allie, who's working with Elizabeth Warren for an act regarding the ear issues. But nobody knows. And bottom line, I'm a mathematician, basically. If you have a mask where you have a neck and can wear it, and you don't have to involve the ears, it's a great thing. If you have a mask that you have to have ears for, but it hurts your ears, that's not a good thing. So educating people, getting them to understand, and somehow, I don't want to say the word force, somehow get their attention like your radio show, that they don't lose interest immediately, that they listen as we go through this, to educate themselves as to what's good and what isn't. And we have on our website a comparison chart where we take our mask and compare it to surgical masks. And we take our mask and compare it to a gator mask. And then we take our mask and compare it to the Never Lost mask by Copperfit. And we'll have a criteria of 12 issues, the 12 biggest issues. And we'll always come out ahead, plus 11, plus 12. Somebody else might be plus 2 or minus 11. But in simple terms, people can educate themselves. And we're the only ones, literally the only ones on the market that are brave enough to critique our own mask that way. Nobody else will do it because their mask will fail.
Right. Wow. John Melching, my guest, Next Legacy Radio, brought to you by Properly Made Masks. 10% off if you use the code SAVEMORE. Make sure you go to the website now. Not now, but right now. As I'm listening to you talking, I'm actually trying to pay attention to the point where not only are you giving us nothing but facts, I mean, being a math guy, be proud of that, right? So be proud of that, but also do you feel like, and it's just me and you talking, me and you and hundreds of thousands of people that will be listening or whatnot, just you and I just having a regular conversation. I feel like, in a sense, when it comes to, either mask mandate, I feel like where it's like, I don't think it was rolled out properly. I feel like a lot of people at the end of the day, I feel like they do not like being told what to do, so they're just going to be rebellious and just do the opposite of what's being told or forced upon them or something like that. I also see this as a litmus test, too, when it comes to just morality. Just, you know what, let me look out for the fellow man or woman or child to say, hey, it's not even about me anymore. It's about protecting you at the end of the day. I feel like your mass rollout kind of embodies that, but do you see where I'm going with this when it comes to that? It's not really a question, but more of a direct statement, but, you can chime in if you want. But I feel like, John, this is literally our opportunity to be able to help others by doing something maybe you might not want to do, but you're going to help out that next man, woman, or child preserve their life. And that should be important, right?
Yes. Well, you hit the nail on the head. There's not a person out there that when they get up and they're going to work or they're on vacation and they want to go buy something, nobody wants to wear a mask. It's just inherent in human nature that they don't want to. But when you're forced to, there are situations where you see other people not wearing them and you say, well, why do I have to? But you hit on a very good point about helping your neighbor. You don't know if you have the virus or not, but if you're forced to wear a mask, then wear the one that's most comfortable, goes around your neck, hides away. You only use it when you have to. You never lose it. But as a community, nobody should really attack anybody else wearing a mask. Now, there are those that wear masks that literally attack those that don't, and that's just not right. You have the ability to stay away from that person, try to educate that person. So the extremes of you absolutely must or I will not ever need to be educated. And if they have an understanding in their minds as to how they do protect everybody else and how you can maximize comfort and adjustability and protection, I think that the left and right can merge as a center and help their fellow man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about misconceptions and things like that. Let me put a positive spin on it. What's been some of the plus signs that you have heard, seen, dealt with throughout this journey that you had with Properly Made Masks?
We spent a lot of time developing. I've spent a lot of time developing what there is, and I've had help. And then it takes quite a bit to produce, and we produce X amount for stock. But when I speak with people and I give them masks, as I said, we've been at a fashion show for Fashion Week. We've gone to a few schools. When they use the mask, I liken it to the first time somebody might have the cochlear ear implant behind, they can hear, and the faces light up. My goodness, I can hear. And when they put this mask on, they're amazed about how comfortable it is. It's almost like you're not wearing anything, an innovation. So the high points are that I have never, not once, spoken with anybody, myself or my team, at any scale, given a few masks out or given 200 masks out, and explained to people what happens. Not a single person has rejected it. And I've also had meetings with a few mask haters at clinics, medical clinics, where, and it was because there was one young nurse, because of her daughter not liking to wear it, I gave them to her. I went back and spoke to her, and she said that her daughter loves it. And then I'll give you one specific story that broke my heart. Disney. We all like Disney. Everybody wants to go to Disney. But I spoke about the microtia of the ear issue and the founder in Colorado. But there was a young lady here in Staten Island who was turned away from a Disney store a bit ago. And she was turned away from the Disney store because she was wearing a gator mask, that like the motorcycle guys wear, just a big scarf around your face. And she was turned away because the rule book for Disney said must wear a mask that loops around the ear. Well, obviously a gator doesn't. They did not realize that she had microtia. She had an ear deformity. And it broke her heart. She was on one of the news stations. I met her through there, and I've given her some masks, and they love the mask. So that was very uplifting to be able to help somebody specific, but we know that we can help everybody with ear issues, and including myself. Think about it. Hearing aids, sunglasses, reading glasses, earrings. I've given at the fashion show, we gave masks out, and they've put them on, and the ladies at a show love to wear their great earrings. But how do you put a looped mask around your ear when you're wearing nice earrings to get tangled into it? Just something as simple as that. It took care of that. So the uplifting things are that I've never been rejected, and people want to know more. But I don't necessarily rely on a handful of people here or there to tell their friends. You know, it's human nature to put the mask in the drawer, use it, and not really sing the praises. That's why we're glad that we're on your radio station.
Wow, this is big. I mean, not just that, just the stories, or I guess you can call it a journey in itself when it comes to certain things. And again, you remember what I said earlier about a litmus test between man, woman, and child. We need to pay more attention to others as well, not just reacting to certain things, but to get a better understanding. I think it's, I always feel like in life there's always specific tests that you have to literally go through. I mean, it's not just drawn out for you all the time. It's literally right there in your face that you can either, again, morality compass. What are you going to do when that presents itself? And I think it's important. John Melching.
Well, here's if I may.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a bigger example, and this is before masks, but when 9/11 hit, as an engineer, I was supposed to be on Tower 1. I happened to be in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. But the way people pulled together, the nation, the world, when you talk about helping your fellow man, the way everybody pulled together because of that disaster and the fear that it created was a beautiful thing. The way the United States pulled together when COVID first hit, if you recall, there weren't enough respirators for people. So the government jumped on the bandwagon. It demanded that these scientific companies that make products stop what they're doing, all get together and start making respirators. And they produce respirators in months to save lives. Mm-hmm. That's what you're talking about, people getting together. So people need to get together regarding the mask as well. We need to get rid of the baloney, garbage, don't work, what am I buying mask out there, and replace it with a mask that the government can back and say, yes, this is what we should be doing.
There's a difference between someone doing it because of, it's the mission, like properly made masks, and then there's other people out there that you mentioned that's doing it to make a profit.
Big profit.
And that's different. It's different. It feels different. It's just like anybody else when it comes to it. And John, you probably know this, when someone is not genuine enough to say, hey, this is my mission statement, and this is the action behind the mission statement. It's not just the talk, it's the action that's involved. And that's why I need everybody out there that's listening and will be listening to go to properlymademask.com. Make sure you go ahead and place your order, 10% off using the code SAVEMORE. And I'm going to basically announce this now, and I'll do it at the end of our segment. Anybody out there that will be listening, that will make the purchase when they go to the website, I will give John 5 for now. I will give him 5 $25 Amazon gift cards to give to whoever makes a specific purchase. So I will give John and I will give Jess more details in that, but I will basically start off with 5. If it continues to keep pushing forward, I will give John, I will give Jess more information as far as how we can be able to make this. But I don't want to do it just because the mood hits me. I want to make sure that people are actually being proactive, using it as a tutorial to let people know that this is bigger than them. And it's important, John. So I just wanted to put that out there and just let you know this is what I'm going to be doing as far as just self-promotion. I also will, and I'm not sure if Jess showed it to you, but I actually do have a commercial that I will put out and run as well. But my question, I'm going to bring it back to what you said as far as, you said something about the mask being out for like fashion time or whatnot.
Right.
Different designs. I'm gonna try to, add a little bit more to it. So design preference or whatever the case may be, people like everything. Everything is, I want it to not just be safe, but I also want to look good as well. They want to be color coordinated, fashion coordinated, whatever the case may be. You're proactive in just making sure that the people will get what they want, right?
We are currently, we have stock. We've picked some colors, and our mask is made of silk, and the reason for silk is, and 2 layers of silk is that, and we're under testing now, but there's a group called the Public Library of Science that says silk produces up to 76% of what N95 does. So logically, you would think 2 layers of silk will perform up to N95 standards, which is another issue about education. Most people think N95 is a material. It is not. It is a testing standard that has to be met to be certified as N95. But what we have on the site, we have a logo that I created as an engineer. I'm not flashy. It's not the greatest logo in the world, but it's on the mask so that when people see it, it helps promote, hey, where'd you get that mask? And the name means a lot to us. When we first started, we were able to get, and I was shocked that we did, the PM on our logo. We own perfectmask.com. But we started realizing that perfect is not rational. Just like there's waterproof watches, bulletproof glass. No, that's not the case. It's water resistant, bullet resistant to a particular level. So we were also blessed, and it was karma that we were able to obtain properly made. So I would like to make sure that people understand when they go to the site, it's properly made masks with an S, plural.com, to get on the site. But once we get going, we can order more masks. Jess, as you mentioned, is a friend of both of ours. We've been printing logos on there for the Guardian Angels, for specific banks, and others. If we get requests and orders for something specific that they would like, we'd be happy to do it. Our mask, though, however, has been engineered. I'm sure you know the philosophy of KISS, keep it simple. It used to stand for stupid, the last S. But we say keep it simple and safe. And function is a priority. Form follows function, and we've got the function down. I think people would rather have a mask that saves their lives before somebody says, oh, that's a pretty red. But we like to have masks that save your lives and is a pretty red. But we're grassroots. We'll get more colors and more variations as we get bigger with the support of people.
Absolutely. And here's another thing as far as our alliance, not just through the radio. Everybody out there, make sure you go to Properly Made Masks, maskwithan.s.com. Make sure you go ahead and show your support. Make the purchase. Again, very important, 10% off if you use the code Save More. Make sure you do that. I am very connected and tied to the banking industry as well, throughout the United States as well. So people out there, as far as companies, if, the interest as far as putting in massive orders to be able to make sure that your company, your team, your district, your region, whatever the case may be, stay safe, make sure you go ahead and go to the website in the Contact Us spot so you can go ahead and get the message over. And I think it's important for people out there listening and will be listening to share the wealth, right, John? Because it's important. Again, I'm not going to stress it enough. It's important for everybody out there to be safe, but also make sure that your neighbor is safe. It does take a village. I believed in that since I could remember believing in it. I still believe it to this day in 2022, and I need people out there to go. For bulk sales and wholesales, you can go to sales@properlymademask.com, and the information is on the Contact Us section on the website. And let me ask you a different kind of question now. We talked about masks. We talked about its importance. We talked about the fashion of it all. What has been, I guess, in a lot of sense, just navigating through social media that you have seen that has been positive and some challenges when it comes to that? I know we've mentioned some of the struggles as far as just everybody trying to make a buck, but what else have you seen?
Well, I will say this. As I said before, I'm kind of an old school guy. I know a little bit about AutoCAD and computers. And when I was in college, we had slide rules. We didn't even have calculators. I don't think most people even know what a slide rule is. But
I do.
The emergence of social media, and I think it's a wonderful thing. It connects everybody. It's an amazing thing, but there's so much content out there that it's difficult for any person to stop on what the important thing is instead of rushing past it. And that's what I've noticed. Myself being not illiterate, but not experienced in all the social media things, and I've just recently hired some people that are giving of their time. Jess is one of them, and helping getting the word out there. What I have noticed is that when I deal with the ear community or I deal with somebody in social media that is medical or in administration or at schools, they pass the word on. The real key is we need the average citizen, somebody like The Rock or a sports player, understanding what it is yourself, getting behind it, and have your followers order some, wear them, talk to their school administrators, talk to their government. We currently are making about 700 masks with every senator's name on it, every representative's name on it, from the House Representative to the White House, and we're going to send them out, and hopefully some of them, it gets traction. You know what I mean? So that they understand what it is that we're doing, what they've missed out on. I have great faith in it, just like I have great faith in this country. I have the Pledge of Allegiance tattooed around my arm, for goodness sake. Love this country, love serving it, love the people in it. And when you said everybody, we started with warriors and children, and then everybody. But this is worldwide. This is a worldwide situation. And our country can help other countries. Jess is helping us with Latin community areas and her friends. I don't even want to begin to start to speak a little bit of Spanish. I know a little bit, but enough to get me into trouble. But educating all nations, educating all languages. I studied as part of developing this mask. There have been studies throughout the years of every race's head, from the time they're born till they die, black, white, Asian, male, female, every age. And you take dimensions between their nose and their chin. This is the boring part, but it is interesting. I was done after 20,000 measurements to come up with the dimensions on my mask. But our mask looks simple, but there has been months of true study and engineering in them, and people need to understand that. So if you're bilingual, let's talk in another language.
Hey, amen to that. Amen to that. John Melching, my guest on Next Legacy Radio, brought to you by ProperlyMadeMask.com. 10% off using the code SAVEMORE. As I announced about 10 minutes ago or so, I am giving John five $25 Amazon gift cards to give when you make a purchase. You have to show proof of purchase, obviously. In closing, a couple more questions. One is, we predominantly play a lot of music on radio shows as well. So I want to know just a little bit about you, John. What are you listening to right now? What are some of your favorite groups, artists, or whatnot?
As I said, I'm old school, Boston Eagles, Aerosmith, classic rock. I like a lot of the new things, but I just always wind up falling back into classic rock and the blues. Love the blues.
Can't go wrong with anything that you just said right there, my friend. So there you go. Classic rock, blues. You may be old school, but, I feel like we all are. Do you have a decade of preference when it comes to music? What was the best decade of music?
Well, for the blues, et cetera, 60s and 70s, but for classic, 70s and 80s.
Okay. You're right along. Listen, we may not have had dialogue until just now, but you and I are right along the same road as far as, how we feel about just our classics, our classic music. I always feel like the 80s was just the greatest in diversity. So it's always going to tug on my heartstrings when it comes to that. But if you want to go backwards, blues is where it's at, like 60s, 50s, 60s. 70s and 80s were great too. So it's you can't go wrong with anything that you just said, my friend. So listen, in closing, I want to make sure that I give you the opportunity to have the floor, get some shout outs, direct some traffic to wherever you want to direct it. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. This is important to me. Be on the lookout on our site. We're going to be doing, I don't even know the right term, vlogs and blogs and maybe a podcast. But we're going to set up a section called Challenges, where we challenge the government to get involved. We're sending out a challenge to Dr. Phil. I love Dr. Phil. But would it be great if he got 6 to 10 mask manufacturers on a stage with me to explain why theirs is good and mine is good and tell the people really what the truth is? Talking to Dyson or Google, Fox News. I need the people that read our website. If they work for any of these big places, Amazon. Imagine all the people. Imagine if Amazon owners can buy masks for all their people in the warehouse that are comfortable, et cetera, right? Helping each other, a community. Right. But it takes people to get active. So at your workplace, talk to your bosses. Take the time to write to the government or to Amazon. That will take off, and that is what I'm asking everybody to do. Be part of our mask movement.
Even if you want to hashtag properly made masks with video in regards to just that not only are you wearing it, you are actually a man or a woman of action, and you want to support the movement, which I think is important. I need everybody, once again, to go to properlymademask.com, 10% off using the code SAVEMORE. We have Amazon gift cards that John, Jess, and I will be able to coordinate and put together. Social media, make sure you go ahead and hit up all the networks from Instagram to Facebook to Twitter, YouTube as well. It's on the website if you go into the contact us section, and give back. Not just make the purchase, be safe, be a part of it, but just understand what John's talking about when he's talking about comfort. There's a lot of uncomfortable people out there in this world right now wearing masks that they probably shouldn't be wearing. And trust me, I was one of them until Jess and I started talking, and orders will be placed. I need to give some to my team as well. So it's important. I'm not just saying that because this man is on my station right now. I believe in what this man is doing right now and the people that is with him putting this together. It's not easy. So get out there, go to properlymademask.com, support the brand because it's going to support everybody else that is doing exactly what they need to do, which is stay safe.
Well, I thank you for that. You said it better than I could. You're more experienced in speech and getting through to the people, but I cannot thank you enough. And everybody that's listened and they act upon what you've said, they should thank you as well because they're going to be helping their families, their neighbors, everybody in the country. I thank you so much.
And I thank you too. And John, in closing, before I let you go, you have great radio presence, sir. So just don't sell yourself short. You're doing
I
great.
do.
You did a great job. You do. You really do. Give yourself credit.
Well, I need to start a blog so I can talk honestly about many things. Obviously, I have an opinion about a lot of things that I've kept quiet, but maybe someday you can teach me how to do a blog and get it started.
John, I'm right there with you. And look, you have it. I hear the passion in your voice. It's not something where, being candid, like you're just saying it just to say it. I feel it. And I think that's what a lot of people need to pay attention to. It's not just the brand that you're putting out. It's a believable brand because you're putting that action into what you're doing. So, it's not just because you're here with me. I wholeheartedly believe in what you're doing. So you will definitely get my support. And John, in closing, again, I said this 2-3 times now. I'm going to say it again. go to the website, properlymademask.com. You can get 10% using the code SAVEMORE. You can also get an Amazon gift card if you make the purchase and show your proof of purchase. So, John, on behalf of you and the people that's working so hard at Properly Made Masks, I appreciate you, not just for the service that you're providing, but also for giving us that litmus test of the moral compass that I feel like we all need to make sure that everyone around us stays safe. Can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Podcasters Unite. Ready to dive into something awesome? Welcome to the Next Legacy Podcast, your #1 station for the people. Here we bring you stories, interviews, and conversations that matter. Whether you're commuting, cooking, or just chilling, Next Legacy has got your back. Join our community of listeners who crave insightful content and good vibes. From trending topics to hidden gems, we cover it all with a touch of humor and a whole lot of heart. So, plug in those earphones, hit that subscribe button, and let's make today a little brighter together. Tune in now to the Next Legacy Podcast, where every episode feels like home.